Well, you wouldn't know it to be out here right now, but given that we're now in April, it means that fan season is almost among us, so I'm starting to get some of these things up and running. Here is the Sanyo, which is from Hamfest 2022. The very classy fan with the bottle cap on the set screw in there. Then I went ahead and I replaced with a ferrite choke, which is probably just as classy, but it certainly works a whole lot better. And you can see I pulled it out of storage and it's still working just fine, as it was when I put it into storage. And go ahead and we'll switch the speed down. You can see it still runs, doesn't stall out or anything like that. So, we'll stop that. Spin down time, well, I think that it could be a whole lot slower than that. The spin down should be a little bit longer, but it's not too bad, all things considered. It's certainly better than it was when I got it. Now, this thing, this little, I think this is like an 8-inch fan, or, let's see, what is this? Model 6HK. Now, this is a 6-inch fan. No oscillator or anything like that. It's a little desk fan. It does have an adjustment. This is actually going to go to work, but before I do that, I definitely need to oil it. Because you can hear, wow, that sounds like crap. And I'm not going to put that on my desk at work, because that is just going to drive me nuts. So, although of course part of that might also be that the blades are out of balance. But then there's this, which is the subject of the video. It was also sitting out in storage. And yes, somebody's going to ask, I do have the Home Styles fan as well. It's sitting out there. I haven't brought it back because I need to clean up the floor in order to get that set up correctly. But at the end of the day, I have this, and this is what the video is about. This is a 12-inch Windmere Oscillating Fan, which you've probably already noticed has a little bit of a problem, and has more problems still, judging based on the fact that with the oscillator pressed down, I can still move it around like this. So I don't know what actually really happened to that. You can see also, again, that we've definitely got a little bit of a problem here. There's supposed to be some kind of a little set screw on that, but that's gone. And obviously this is insanely loose. So, I'm going to have to do something about that. And I don't know what I'm going to do about the oscillator, because quite honestly there's probably not much I can do about the oscillator. Is there a screw in that? I can't really tell if that's a screw or if that's just a press fit. There might be a screw. Yeah, I can't really tell, but anyway, I believe that it is functional. I'll have to go ahead and plug it in here. Like I said, I believe this is functional, and then I've got it plugged in here in place of the Sanyo, with the exception of the fact that it does not really stay straight, and that it definitely needs some oil. Maybe the blades to be tightened. But yeah, so the oscillator you can see is turning, but yet nothing's really happening. So, still moves quite a bit of air though. But I will definitely have to, yeah. So something's a little bit messed up on this. You know, maybe more than a little bit. I know that the grill retention's a little bit. Yeah, because it shouldn't make that noise. So, let me get this blade set off of here. Okay, well, that was entertaining. Finally managed to get the fan put back together here. Or, I'm sorry, disassemble the fan and oil it. So now that this moves freely, which is nice, it is plugged in, and it'll run. You can hear it's nice and quiet, which it was not before. I had to take the oscillator entirely apart, and I won't go back together again because I found out why it's non-functional. Take a look under there. Not sure how well you can see it. You'll see there's a giant hole right there. Okay, piece of crap camera decided to die for no reason whatsoever. So, here's why there's that problem. This is what's supposed to be plugged into that. This is the oscillator gear. And as you can see, the plastic is completely snapped. I've never seen somebody do that before, so I have no idea what the previous owner did to this, but I'm getting the feeling, based on some of the things I've seen with this fan, that whoever owned this previously was not exactly what you would consider classy people. Which, again, I know sounds real rich coming from the guy whose garage looks like this, but at the end of the day, this thing is covered in just all kinds of garbage. Like, I mean, look at what that looks like. Ew. Somebody probably actually tried oiling this, and that didn't go so well. At least that's what I can fathom, because that's stuck on there pretty good. So I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to do to fix that. But I've just gone ahead and pulled the entire oscillator apart, because really there's no reason for that oscillator to continue to be there. I have left the shell, so that way I can put the back on the fan. Now that it's oiled, I should be able to put that back on after I cleaned it. I'll clean that little piece right there, and then we can hopefully put the blades back together in the grill and everything and have a grand run-up afterwards. I don't know what I was going to mention while I had the cover off. You'll notice this white shroud around the motor. I've never really seen that on a fan like this. You can also see evidence of cheap build quality in the form of those folded tabs. I'm not really sure why that was done. But that made it incredibly difficult to actually oil the motor, which is why I had to tear the oscillator box apart in order to actually access the rear bearing. I don't think I've ever had to do that on a fan before, because it was usually just open. So, kind of annoying. And of course, somebody will probably question the wisdom of trying to fix up a fan like this that's just a cheap piece of junk. And others still will question why I'm not going the full 9 yards and repairing the oscillator. At the end of the day, I just want a fan that works. I picked it up for cheap. It only cost me $10. So, a little bit of oil, a little bit of elbow grease to clean it up. And it should work just nice for anything that I want to do. You put it on a shelf and forget about it. Should be more than good enough. So you got the grill on now. I've cleaned it up. Well, just brushed it off. I will also note that when I was pulling off the little set screw here, I did notice that it was, not only did somebody crank the living bejesus out of it in order to get it on there, but it was also cross-threaded, so yeah, I'm surprised it actually went on there properly after all of that, but it did, or at least it seems to have. It's not cross-threaded now, and it's a little bit looser than it was. It's still tight, but it's not quite as tight as it was. I actually almost needed to get out the channel locks and get that off that way, which, again, that's a first for a fan restoration for me. Also of note, and I got a video light, it looks like somebody didn't put this on quite properly, which might have explained part of why that blade set seems so loose. Hopefully that's not going to be a problem now that I want to put this back. It's possible this isn't even the blade for this fan, but I'm pretty sure that it is. It looks like it certainly is, and even if it's not, there's not much of a difference between these fans anyway. They're all basically the same thing. There it is with the grill in place. It's a little bit loose on the stand because you'll notice that there's supposed to be a screw right there. That was also broken. Here's what's left of it. So that's pretty much useless. But let's go ahead and fire the fan up. Here's low. Definitely seems to run better. Medium. And high. And off. Oh yeah, that runs a lot better now. Look at that spin down time. That's the way that it should be. Spin it all the way up to high here. I'm going to move it so that there's a little bit more room and bring you close to the motor so you can actually hear it start up. Not much of a startup though, it's basically instantaneous. Unfortunately it is a little loose. There's not much I can really do about that, other than glue this in place, which I'm not going to do if I have to service the head wire at any point. I would like to be able to do that. So, yes, I know that this is a little bit loose. That's as tight as I'm able to get it. So we'll shut it down, and we'll conclude the video with that. Thank you for watching, and if you have any comments, feel free to leave them below.